Welcome to datascience.show, the podcast where data science meets executive leadership. We talk with top AI and analytics thought leaders about turning data into real business impact. If you're a C-level leader or data expert shaping the future, you're in the right place.
Welcome. I'm Mirko, and this is datascience.show, where data science meets leadership. Today, we're tackling something I call metric debt, the duplicate, ambiguous, and quietly dangerous KPIs that erode trust in models, misalign incentives, and cost companies real money. I'll start with a short story, vivid, specific, because you need to feel the cost before you can justify the fix.
A product team and a growth team argued for 6 months about who owned active customer. Product defined active as anyone who opened the app in 30 days. Growth counted any login or email click within 90 days. Finance used a revenue-based definition. Models trained on the product definition surfaced a cohort that looked healthy, high engagement but low conversion. The recommender model started optimizing for features that increased short session engagement. The product team rolled out changes that spiked short visits, and revenue slipped. The company spent millions nudging the wrong cohort. That's not theoretical loss, that's measurable cost, board questions, and a lot of finger-pointing.
So what happens in that room of dashboards and models? You get model drift tied to measurement divergence, reward functions optimizing for the wrong behavior, and executives reading dashboards that silently disagree. My promise for this episode? A decision-first playbook you can use in the next 30 to 90 days to inventory metrics, detect the semantic splits that break models, prioritize what to standardize or retire, and install lightweight governance so this doesn't repeat.
First, why does metric debt matter? Imagine your labels, rewards, and performance signals are built on shifting sand. Models are only as good as the objective we give them. If the objective is poorly defined, duplicated, or politically negotiated without traceability, your model optimizes the wrong thing. That leads to 3 practical problems. 1. Model drift and surprises in production. 2. Perverse incentives where teams chase local KPIs instead of company outcomes. And 3. Fractured accountability. No single owner who can explain why a metric changed and whether that change is valid.
Okay. How do you move from diagnosis to action quickly? Start with a rapid metric inventory. I'm talking 72 hours, executive-led, decision-focused. The goal is not perfection. The goal is visibility. Step 1. List your high-impact metrics: revenue, active customer, retention, conversion funnels, churn definitions, lifetime value. Limit the scope. Pick 15 to 25 metrics that are actually used by models, product roadmaps, or finance forecasts. Step 2. For each metric, capture 4 fields. Source, where the number is computed. Owner, who signs the definition. Consumers, dashboards, models, teams, and the canonical formula. Step 3. Capture last change metadata. When did the definition change last, and why? That alone surfaces a lot of heat.
A quick template you can use: metric name, business meaning, 1 sentence, data sources, exact SQL or formula, current owner, known consumers, last change date and reason, risk notes. Give product, finance, and data teams 48 hours to fill the table for the 15 to 25 metrics you selected. You'll be surprised how many cells come back empty, or with 3 different formulas. Those gaps are your starting points.
Next, detecting semantic conflicts and downstream risk. You can't fix what you can't see. Use these heuristics. 1. Definition divergence. If more than one authoritative system computes the same metric differently, flag it. 2. Shadow consumers. Look for dashboards, notebooks, or ML labels that reference local variants of the metric. 3. Concentration hotspots. If a single metric feeds 5 models and 2 executive reports, that's high coupling and high risk. 4. Downstream break rate. Track incidents where a metric change caused a model retrain or a business decision to flip. These heuristics let you triage where to act first. Let me give you a concrete example of detection. We found a retention metric computed in 3 places. Analytics Pipeline A used a calendar-based 30-day window, the data warehouse job used a rolling 30 days, and the mobile SDK emitted event-based retention with client-side deduplication. The models trained on the warehouse version, while the executive dashboard used the SDK number. When a new mobile event format changed deduplication behavior, dashboards diverged and models mispredicted retention. No one expected the SDK change to affect model labels. That's the kind of hidden consumer you need to find and cut off or reconcile.
Now, how do you decide what to standardize, consolidate, or retire? Use a simple prioritization rubric with 3 axes: business impact, technical coupling, and behavioral risk. Score each metric 1 to 5 on expected revenue or strategic impact if correct, number of systems and models that rely on it, and the likelihood that local teams will game or adapt their behavior when the metric changes. Multiply or weigh these to get a priority score. High impact, high coupling, high behavioral risk metrics go to the top of your standardization queue.
When you retire a metric, yes, sometimes retirement is the right move. Use negotiation language. Explain the business harm. Propose a substitute or migration path, and offer a sunset window with monitoring. For metrics that are important locally but risky globally, offer a federated exemption. Allow the local metric to live behind a clear sunset clause, and keep the central metric for models and executive reporting. This keeps experimentation alive while protecting model integrity.
Governance is often where people freeze. Don't over-centralize. I recommend a 1-page governance artifact for each standardized metric: definition, owner with escalation contact, change notice window, typically 7 to 14 days for high-impact metrics, schema locking rules, and a lightweight approval date that ties metric changes to funding or product milestones. Make the gate an operational check. No funding for model retrain until the metric change has passed the approval window and the downstream impact is signed off.
You also need a pragmatic change control process. Track proposals in a shared board, require a consumer impact statement, and implement automatic notification to register downstream consumers. If a change is urgent, allow a fast-track review with post-change monitoring and a predefined rollback window. This balances speed and safety, exactly what a scaling organization needs. For the board, translate metric posture into 3 simple KPIs. First, definition divergence rate, the percentage of top metrics with multiple authoritative formulas in use. Second, concentration risk index, count of models/reports that depend on the same metric. Third, downstream break rate, incidents per quarter where a metric change caused an operational or model failure. Present these on a 1-slide dashboard with trend lines and a short remediation plan. Boards don't want your SQL. They want signals that metric entropy is under control.
All right, 30 to 90 days. What does a realistic audit program look like? Day 07. Assemble a metric task force, product, finance, analytics, data engineering, and agree on scope. 15 to 25 metrics. Day 8 to 21. Run the 72-hour inventory across the scoped metrics. Score them using the prioritization rubric and identify the top 3 high-risk metrics. Day 22 to 45. Run remediation pilots for those top 3. Standardize definitions, set owners, apply change controls, and monitor downstream model behavior. Day 46 to 90. Expand governance to the next batch and institutionalize the 1-page artifacts and dashboard signals. Aim for measurable outcomes at each stage, reduced incidents, fewer dashboard divergences, and a stabilization of model performance. Those are the quick wins that avoid bureaucratic pushback.
You will face resistance. 3 common objections and how to answer them. Objection 1. This is bureaucracy and will slow us down. Answer. Frame it as value-preserving governance. Use the pilot to show measurable reductions in incidents and model rework. Objection 2. Our local metric solves a real local need. Answer. Offer a federated exemption with a sunset and monitoring. Preserve agility but limit systemic risk. Objection 3. We can't agree on a single owner. Answer. Escalate ownership to the level that has the most to lose, usually product or business leadership, and codify escalation paths. These are negotiation moves, not edicts.
Before we wrap, here are 3 board-ready actions you can take this week. 1. Authorize a 72-hour metric inventory for the top 15 metrics and assign the metric task force. 2. Require one-page governance artifacts for any metric that feeds models or executive reporting. 3. Add the 3 metric health KPIs to the executive dashboard and review them monthly. Those 3 moves create immediate visibility and accountability.
Final reflection. Metric debt is not a purely technical problem, and it's not a purely political one either. It sits squarely at the intersection of measurement, incentives, and governance. Fixing it protects model value and preserves trust, the things that let AI move from interesting experiments to measurable outcomes. If you take anything away from this episode, let it be this: strategy before technology. Decide what winning looks like, then measure it consistently.
If you want to move fast, download the Metric Debt Audit Toolkit at datascience.show/metricdebt. It contains the inventory template, the prioritization rubric, the one-page governance artifact, and the 30 90-day checklist. Everything I described today, packaged so you can run the pilot. That's the difference between models and value.
Thanks for listening. If this episode helped frame the problem and gave you a path forward, subscribe, share with a peer who owns metrics, and tell us how the pilot goes on LinkedIn. Until next time, turning data into business impact, from models to measurable value.
Thanks for listening to datascience.show. If you found value in this episode, subscribe, share it with your network, and join us next time as we explore how data science drives smarter decisions and better business outcomes.